guys. Welcome to another episode of the DNA of a Professional. I hope that you have been enjoying season 4 thus far. I am super excited because today is our first guest of the season. I am super excited. Let me tell you something. I have been following this rock star, this queen on social media for a minute. I have been following her on LinkedIn. And she is a top voice that is like coming in hot when it comes to branding. So, we've already talked about how you need to tighten up your brand, right? But now I'm bringing you somebody who's going to help you gather yourself and get it together. And that is Mrs. Allison McFarlane. Okay. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She embodies the roles of daughter, same, mother, same, leader, same, founder, and community partner, same. Y'all see why she's here? We're already connected. We have so much in common already. And she's weaving this tapestry of strength, compassion, and inspiration. Her dedication to empowering women and fostering growth resonates through her multifaceted journey, leaving an undeniable mark on the lives she touches. I know, you already talked to her already, right? Let me tell you, Allison's story is a testament to the transformative power of leadership and advocacy, illuminating a path of empowerment for present and future generations to come. Hey, the DNA of Professional family, you guys ready? Let's welcome Miss Allison. How are you?
Fabulous. Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here.
Absolutely. I am so excited for you to be here. We are super excited about season 4, and you are our first guest for season 4. I get some sound effects in here. But I'm super excited. And I do feel like we have a lot in common. Daughter, mother, wife, leader, founder, all the things. Like I'm so connected with you in that. But I was just blown away by your presence and how you engage with people, the conversations around leadership and branding that you're having.
Yes.
And I just said, you know what? There's no place. You need to be here. You've got to be here. I need to have you talking to our listeners because it's so important that I believe, as professionals as a whole, understand our brand. And we've already talked a little bit about tighten it up. And I told you at the beginning, like she's going to gather you together, especially if you are looking forward to advancing in places of leadership. And I think it's so important that we master leadership. So today, this episode is entitled Mastering Leadership, Branding, and Reputation Management. And I think it's so important that we understand that when someone says your reputation precedes you, it truly does. It's when you're out of the room, when you're not in the meeting, when you're not in the boardroom, when you're not, engaging with your team. What do people say about you? What's the presence and the impression that you leave behind? And so I want to talk a little bit about that today. But before we do that, I would love for you to just share a little bit about yourself that maybe I didn't sprinkle into your introduction today. And then I ask all of my guests the same question. I want to know, what do you believe is a part of your professional DNA? Your defined natural ability to succeed, your defined natural ability to just kick butt professionally. What is that to you? So noodle on that while you tell the listeners a little bit about you that I might not have shared in the bio.
Okay, awesome. So thank you so much again. So my name is Allison McFarlane. I had been in the banking industry for over 15 years. So I've been in the finance industry for over 15 years. And let's just be very candid up front. There's not a lot of women that look like me in the finance industry. So I have truly had to be a forerunner and find women strategically that look like me to pour into me to help me get where I was trying to go. So I truly embody and believe in giving back. I didn't get here by myself. I stand on the shoulder of many giants, and I just want to make sure that next generation can stand on my shoulder, and I open the door for them for wherever they're trying to go.
I love that. I love that. I love that you recognize I didn't get here by myself.
Oh, no.
I think so many times professionals, and especially women, and especially Black women, we kind of feel like we got this super cape on and we have to go and do it by ourselves. Nobody's going to do it with me, and I got to take this on by myself. And that thinking is just wrong.
Yeah.
Right? We may feel like we're alone sometimes, but there's community out there. And then in absence of community, you said it, there are giants that have come before us that
Yeah.
we can kind of, pull into and connect with and draw into our spaces. Even if that person is no longer here with us, there are books, there are affirmations, there are poems, there are quotes, there are so many things. So you don't have to do this thing called career or this professional journey by yourself. So I love that you said that.
Yes, very much so. I agree 100%.
Awesome. Okay. Question. You ready? You ready for it?
Ready.
What in your professional DNA? What is something that is just your defined natural ability to succeed? You do it with your eyes closed, but it's really helped you along the way of your career.
I think being a bridge. I like to say I am a great connector, but a strategic connector. It's something about strategy that when you're able to master the art of connecting individuals and them not even knowing how this connection has changed their lives, their families' lives, just created a new path. So strategic connections are my thing. Like I could do it in my sleep. I sit there and strategize different things. People are like, Halsey, you move stuff around so seamlessly. I'm like, yes, because when you see that people have a synergy and they don't even know it yet, but you see it or they see it, oh, it's beautiful when she can bring them together.
Oh, I love that. A bridge, a connector. That's why she's showing up the way she's showing up in the social media platform area, these digital streets, looking at you on LinkedIn. Your messages are definitely a bridge. And I think it connects people and brings them clarity and closer, even that you're afar. Okay. And I want to, before we end today, I want you to tell folks about your company and what you're doing within your business and how you work with individuals. Okay. So we're going to talk about that before we close out today, but let's get into this topic of mastering leadership branding and reputation management. And I want to separate the two because I want to talk about the leadership branding first, and then we'll spend a little bit of time on reputation management. So for those who are kind of new to this topic, because you may be saying, well, Tareka, we already talked about professional brand. Yes, but there's a difference when you are looking to advance into leadership. I remind you all the time that we may see titles like manager, director, CEO, COO, but you typically in a job description don't see that the title is called leader.
Yep.
And that's because leaders are created, developed, nurtured. They're really molded and shaped in a way through your experiences, through what it is that you are bringing to the table and how you do it. So when you hear, Allison, this phrase or this term, leadership branding, what does that mean to you for those who are just new to kind of thinking about leadership branding?
So when I think of the term leadership branding, I'm gonna borrow your title. It's your DNA. I think it's how you show up. It's how you show up to not just work, but how you show up authentically in all sectors of your life, not just work. It's how, because we all wear multiple hats, right? So when I think of leadership branding, I'm thinking of how this person shows up, who this person is, regardless of what's going on.
I love that. I love that. And it's the key is how you show up regardless of what's going on. And I want to sit in that a little bit because leaders have a responsibility to have consistency and to have a constant presence when they are in that position and in that role.
Yep.
And I shouldn't experience a leader differently day after day after day, right? It's in whatever that's going on in the good times and things are going well within the division in the department, but also in those not so great times. And we're in a space of crisis management.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about, how does leadership branding differ from personal branding? Because we all have a personal brand.
Right.
But when you have the opportunity, the privilege, because I believe leadership, when you're placed in positions of leadership, that is a privilege because people are in a position to follow your vision and your strategy, and you have the ability to influence them. So you are in a space of privilege when you are a leader. Talk with me about the differentiation between, our day-to-day personal brand, but then leadership branding.
So I think you hit the nail on the head, which I absolutely love. It's how you show up, how you manage crisis, how you pull up beside your team and how they can glean from you. Are you leading from up top or are you leading right beside them? What does your leadership style look like? What can these people, how do you inspire your teammates and your colleagues to go forward in tough times? Because right now, I would like to say the world is in a big transition. We're in a global transition. It's not just in Texas. It's not just in Virginia. We are transitioning globally. So how does a leader show up during this time of transition? Are they still a constant? Are they still consistent? Are they still providing that stability and that structure to help people know, hey, I don't know fully what's going on, but I know we're going to get to the other side of this. So what's my messaging and how am I showing up how's my DNA showing up to my team that, you know what, we're going to be okay. So just owning that space is really what your leadership brand should be. When I look to you, you're not just a figurehead, but you're somebody that can speak calmness when the storms are rough. You're somebody that can help me gauge the temperature of how something should be, even if I don't understand it. You bring a level of stability that nobody else can bring.
Yes. I love that, Allison, because that's the thing. Like, if everyone else is in chaos, and like you said, right now, if you're not under a rock, you know that this country, this world is in a state of flux, to say the least, right? We're in some conflict. But in the office, in the workspace, I truly believe what you said. A leader has to bring a sense of calmness. Right? A sense of understanding. Because if the leader doesn't know what's going on, or the leader is frantic, oh my goodness. So funny thing, I may or may not, to be determined, do a little Instagram scrolling and watch all the reels and things like that. And I was looking at an Instagram reel. It's either Instagram reel or a TikTok. I can't remember. But this lady, she basically was coming into the office, and her boss had called her into the office, was like, hey, I noticed that you left at 4:59, I believe, or 4:30 or so. And she's like, yeah. So, well, did you see that we were busy out there? We had a lot going on. Yeah, I mean, I did. And I saw a whole bunch of people just playing on their phones. So she's like, I felt like, they had it. And he said, well, if you knew, basically, like, if you knew that we were struggling, we had all these things going on, why would you leave?
Yeah.
And she said, well, there's a front office and a back office. And I felt like, I'm a part of the back office, and the front office had it. And I saw you out there, and you were good. You weren't really doing anything. So I was just you were leading by example, right? You were the model, right? And it's meant to be this hilarious TikTok, this funny Instagram reel. But what I took from that, because I always I see things in those different lenses, right? I took from that, said, I don't believe individuals who are leaders realize what they are modeling every single day. And how, to your point, how you show up and what you're modeling every single day impacts the way your team, your colleagues and peers, your executive leadership, how they are perceiving you, how they are interacting with you because of what you're modeling. Talk with me a little bit about the importance of role modeling as a leader and ensuring that your team or your peers or your leaders, right, are connecting with what you're modeling.
The biggest thing is you got to embody it. I think of one of my favorite leaders, and I would say she was a great mentor. She would roll up her sleeves, get right beside us, and go in the trenches with us. And because of her servant leadership, I have embodied that maybe 10 years later. I haven't worked with her for over 10 years, but I embody that. I live that because I always tell people, one of my biggest models is you practice what you preach. And I feel like the biggest thing is we have a lot of people that are hypocrites. So to truly be authentic and who you really are, I believe the greatest leader embodies their leadership. You don't see hypocrisy. You see them, what they're telling you to do, they're the first ones to do it. So through her, I learned how to be the one that executed, so that the expectation is, you know what, if Allison is asking me something, she's going to do it too. I'm not above rolling up my sleeves, getting down there, dealing with different issues or setting that example, because I remember when. So I think oftentimes us as leaders remember where we came from. We didn't always start at the top, but remember where we came from and how we got to where we are today. And I feel like that's the humanity part of it. Don't make yourself such a far off leader that people can't touch you, and that you're just off in your tower and no one can touch you. And they're like, oh yeah, that's our CEO, but she's just over there. No, make yourself touchable so that the people can see that you are human, and that it's tangible. I really, and you got me on something here. Like I have a 17-year-old, and like I tell her and her girlfriends, I model to them what I want them to become. It doesn't necessarily mean they'll take everything that I do, but I am so conscious of how I show up, how I interact with them, what I involve her in. If I'm in a big room, she's not too far behind, because eventually she'll be in that room and I'll be that torch to her. So how do I show her how to work the room? How do I show her how to have a conversation with a politician or CEO of a Fortune 500 or Fortune 100? If I don't put her in those environments, she'll never know.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it, because I don't think that we understand. And again, this episode is for everybody, because you may say, well, Tareka, I'm not a leader. Well, first of all, we're going to flip that mindset to say, I'm not a leader yet.
Yes.
Because if there's a desire to be in roles of management or in spaces where you have to manage people, then you should be aspiring to be a great leader. Right. That's when we start to be in places where, again, I'm going to say this, if you have a desire to move into a space where you are managing people, you're responsible for developing or nurturing high performing teams, then you should aspire to be a leader. And it's being a leader who is modeling behavior, modeling practices that you want seen or carried out by others. And it's so interesting that you talk about your daughter. So my daughter is 21, Jesus.
Wow.
21. Insane. She's in the middle. She's in the middle. So I have two boys and I have a daughter. My oldest son is 25. My youngest son, in a few days, he'll be 20, and then my daughter is 21.
You look amazing.
Thank you, girl. I tell them, though, I said, oh my gosh, y'all make mama feel a little old sometimes. I feel a little old sometimes. I tell my husband, like, woo. I'm feeling it, because our baby is about to be 20. Oh my goodness. No, but my daughter, she has always been like an academic scholar. She's always done good in school. And I've always wondered, what is going to come of her next, right? Like that would always be my question. Like, where does she really want to go? What does she really want to do? And she's been saying since she was like in middle school that she wanted to be an attorney.
Wow.
She's been saying it since middle school. And, you hear kids say the things that they want to be, and we empower them and inspire them and like, yes, baby, you can do whatever you want to be. And we believe that as mamas, but we don't know. We don't know what's going next, right? And so she went off to college, and she finished college in 3 years.
Go girl.
And she applied for law school. She got into 7 law schools, and she is in her first year of law school.
I love it. I love it.
And I remember doing an episode with her. I actually did a podcast episode with her last season. Okay. And she talked so much about what I model for her. and things that I didn't even realize that I was modeling for her. Right. And there were times where that's like some of those things I was modeling was not the best practices. Like staying up until 1:00 working on proposals all the time is not it, sis. Okay. But I get it. But she said, no, what I took from that was you work hard, mom, and you get things done. And if you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it.
That's good.
And I said, yeah, you're right. And she's taken that. She said she was going to graduate in 3 years. She did it.
Yep.
She said she was going to make the dean's list each semester. She did it. She said she was going to go to law school. She's doing it. Yeah. And I think as leaders in the workspace, our team members, our colleagues, our executive leaders need to know, if I say I'm going to do something, that's great. That's 50% of the battle, the words that came out of my mouth. But the other 50% is, did you do it? And that action has to be a part of your leadership brand, part of your reputation, that if you say you're going to do something,
deliver,
show up and do it. Do it well, do it consistently so that you can model it. Right? For others. So I love that. And the other thing that I love that what you said is, so I know I have a lot of working parents who are listening to this episode, is that when you're in rooms, when you're in big rooms, that she's not too far behind. Because you got to know how to bring your team with you. If you have the opportunity to bring a team member with you to a meeting, to an event, to a board meeting, whatever it may be, bring them. Show up for them now. Model for them now, right? So that when it's their time, or when they're in those rooms or in those situations and you're not there,
they know what to do.
They know what to do. They know what to do. So I love that. I love that. So let's talk about some of the challenges.
Okay.
Especially because you coming in this finance kind of accounting space, this finance and banking space, that is no field of sunflowers. That is no field of sunflowers. And I can only imagine the things that you experienced as a leader. So leaders, they oftentimes they face a lot of challenges, right? That can impact their reputation. Sometimes there's challenges that arise that we are not even, aware that they're coming. We're kind of blindsided at times, but it's how you deal with those challenges, right? What are some of the common challenges that you observe, and how, as a leader, how did you maybe deal with some of them, especially, coming from within your space in finance and banking? You're like, ooh, how much time we got? What are some of those challenges?
I think the biggest thing for me coming into that finance space is the lack of representation. That was probably one of my biggest challenges, and just trying to advocate for more minorities and giving people an opportunity. I think a lot of times people don't understand one opportunity can change someone's life. Even if you feel like they don't have all the credentials in the world, even if you feel like they don't meet your cookie cutter. But I have found that when you take the time to mentor someone, or you see something in someone that they don't necessarily see in themselves, but giving them that opportunity to really go to that next level, that can change a life, that can change a trajectory, that can change everything. So my biggest thing that I feel like we could do better on, and not just in finance and all over, is give people an opportunity, even if their resume does not have all the accolades, all the things that you feel are necessary for them to embody this role. But you can't beat grit. And if they're willing to do the work and understand what it takes to be successful, and partner with people that have come before them that are successful, man, those are some of my best colleagues. And they're still really successful. Just helping upper management understand that success is no longer one size fits all.
Right.
It's very diverse. Success
Uh-huh.
won't look like what it did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 2 days ago. Like it's
Mhm.
ever evolving. So being open enough to allow it to evolve. I think if that's the biggest message I can get out, you'd be
Yeah.
surprised what somebody that you feel does not have experience can do when they're given an opportunity.
Yes. I love that. I love that because that is a big challenge. It's just, I hear from so many professionals is I just need a shot.
Yeah.
I just need a shot. I know I can lead. I just need an opportunity.
Yeah.
I know I can manage. I just need an opportunity. Right. And especially you touched on something so key is the representation. So oftentimes we may not see, Black and brown women or men who look just like us who have an opportunity. No one's giving them the shot.
Right.
So I truly believe that that's a challenge. Now I'm going to challenge you though,
Mhm.
because I've seen this happen where we are given a shot
Yep.
and we miss,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And when we
Yeah.
miss, it's very visible.
Yeah. It's not so much grace.
And not so much grace.
No, not at
How do
all.
you deal? Because the missed shot does not lose the game.
Oh man.
Right?
Oh
The
man.
missed shot doesn't lose the game. First of all, we are huge sports fans in this house.
Okay.
Huge sports fans,
We-
love basketball, love football.
Yep.
Missing does not mean losing. How
Yeah.
do we deal with those challenges in leadership when we miss?
So I have a funny story, and I love that you asked me this question because at 21 years old, I had the
Mhm,
opportunity to lead a very large team and a high revenue generating
mhm,
of team.
mhm.
And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. I was so rude. I was rude. I probably wouldn't want to work for me. But I was a high performer and I
Uh-huh,
exceeded all my goals. But just
uh-huh,
because I was a high performer and exceeded my goals didn't necessarily mean I was ready to lead a team at that
mhm,
level. But they let me
mhm.
do it. And I failed miserably. I failed miserably to the point where my colleagues, they rallied around to get me demoted and they got me.
Oh my gosh.
But you know what? I can honestly tell you that was the best thing that ever happened to me
Mhm,
because it
mhm,
made me evaluate my attitude. It made
mhm.
me say, Allison, at 21 years old, are you really in a position to really lead a multi-million dollar revenue generating team just yet? Just because you did amazing, right? You killed it. But
Mhm.
are you have the emotional intelligence? You have the mental capacity. Are you mature enough to have candid conversations and not be like bossy? And I wasn't. And you know, it hurt my feelings. And I was like,
Mhm.
man, I was really trying, but I wasn't ready. And
Yeah,
the thing is, we got to make sure people are ready and they have the support around them to be successful.
yeah,
So that's a funny question, but it was a real life question for me that I
yeah.
experienced. And that was one of the most humbling experiences, but it also scared me because I was like, once I got an opportunity to lead again, many years later, I was like, Lord, am I ready? I was like, Jesus, can I do it? I don't want to get demoted again. And I was
Right.
so scared to lead a team. But you know what? I put on, like my aunt tells me, she's like, put on your big girl panties and you go for it, Allison. Like you
Mhm.
go. And so I did, and I was much more successful this time. But it was very humbling. And what I
Yeah,
really did during that time of failure is I self-reflected and I really got to know what I'm good at and what I wasn't good at 21.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
And I had no business leading that team. They should have just let me continue being a high producer. And note to all leaders, just because someone performs well doesn't necessarily mean they'll be a great leader. You have to
Say
grow.
it again, Allison, for the people in the back. Oh my goodness. I need someone. There's a leader listening right now who you are piercing their soul.
Yeah.
Say it again. So
Yeah.
I need people to understand what you just said because we see leaders in spaces that they have no business because they're not ready.
No, I wasn't ready. But what I said, and I'm going to say, I preach this today, and I don't mind sharing my failures because that's where my
Yeah.
humanity and the
Mm.
authenticity of who Allison is come forth.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready at 21 years old to lead a multi-million-dollar team.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
was ready as a revenue generating person. I was killing it. But I didn't have any emotional intelligence. I didn't even know how to connect to the people. I was so mean. I wouldn't want to work for me. But because they saw that, oh, she's doing great. She's able to produce these numbers. Yes, I was great at production, but there's a difference between inspiring people to go forth and
Yes.
there's a big difference.
Yes.
I
Yes.
wasn't.
All I hear in my head is like, you wasn't ready. Like,
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. And that was the best experience to this day. Like I stand on. My daughter says you stand on business. I stand on business on that one.
yeah.
That changed my life forever.
Oh my goodness. I love that. And you, first of all, again, big miss, like big miss, but huge win because you're never going back to that space.
No.
You're never going back to that space. And I really love that you've learned from that. You could have just shrunk.
Yeah.
And said, I'm never doing this again. Right.
Yeah.
But you didn't. You didn't. And there's pieces of that I'm sure that you hold on and have, molded or even a piece of your leadership brand today.
Oh, yeah.
Because you learned so much from that experience. You learned so much from that experience. Yeah. And here's the thing. Does that mean, because I'm telling you, this new generation of professionals coming up, I've had some clients that are like 24, 25, making six figures, leading management consulting work, like doing it, right? Like really, really doing it. I'm like, oh my goodness, the way that these generations are being positioned is phenomenal.
Yes.
But I want to empower and encourage anyone who's listening that the skills does not necessarily prepare you for leadership. Your skill set, your bachelor's or your master's or your doctorate, it adds to your ability.
Yeah.
But it is not what qualifies you to be a leader.
Amen.
And you have got to be in a position to where you're ready to embody those leadership qualities. You are an active listener. You are empathetic. You come from a space of trust. You are consistent and you constantly show up in a way. Those elements have to be at least at the foundation of that brand of the leader. And then you bring your own unique brand, right? Those unique elements, because Allison's going to be Allison, Tareka's going to be Tareka. Like you've got to bring those unique elements, but there are some foundational pieces that you absolutely have to have. And I believe building a strong leadership brand takes strategy.
Yep.
As a career work-life strategist, like Allison, I know that everything that we do, it some degree has an approach to it. Yep. It has some type of a strategy. Yep. What key elements should leaders focus on when they're trying to be strategic about developing or maybe even enhancing their brand, their leadership brand? What are some key elements that they should focus on?
Coaching, executive. I don't think we invest enough in it. That changed my life. When I got an executive coach, because it pushes you beyond your limitations if you get the right executive coach. It allows you to see your blind spots. It allows you to see areas of opportunities, and it allows you to hone in on what you're really great at and really cultivating and get your focus. It makes you so intentional. So I'm a huge proponent for executive coaching. I don't think we do enough of it. And then continue and not just look for your company to help you develop. Take the time and invest in yourself. Gone are the days of we can look to our company, our boss, anybody to develop us. If you want to grow, you make that investment on yourself. And I promise you will get a return on your investment, but you be very intentional about investing in yourself.
Yes, that is absolutely being strategic because we're all on, different playing fields. A lot of people's like, oh, we're on the same playing field. I don't believe that. We're all on different, playing fields. Like we just are. But when you invest in yourself and you're willing to work with an executive coach who can, to your point out those blind spots, right? That person is not there to help you do your job. That
Right.
person is there to coach you in how you can improve your executive presence, how you can improve yourself as a leader, how you can improve the way that you deliver insights,
Yep.
how you can improve the way that you are managing crises. Like that person is there to see things and pull things out of you that you didn't even know that were there.
Yeah.
You may say, well, and I hear this all the time. I don't have money for executive coaching. I don't have money for that.
You saw my face.
Well, 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 I don't know that you are ready to
Yeah.
then be in certain levels of
Yeah.
leadership. I don't know very many successful individuals who begin to ascend into like the C-suite area who have not at some point had some executive coaching.
Mhm.
It's especially if you are a successful
Right.
executive,
Right.
because you need that third eye.
Yes, you do.
You have to have it. And I'm a true believer in it. I've had some executive coaching, but I know even for myself, that's an area as I'm going into this next season of my career and the trajectory that I know that I'm on,
Okay.
that I am wanting to invest again in executive coaching.
Good for you.
There's some spaces that Tareka wants to go.
Okay.
I know that there's a need for that executive coaching. And when you can grasp that and understand it, honestly, that's when you're ready for it. Because I already know somebody's thinking, they're listening to us right now. It's like, ooh, am I ready for an executive coach? When you can grasp why you need it,
Yeah.
that's when you're ready.
Yeah.
If you're still questioning the investment and you're looking at the price tag and not looking at the person who's coaching you, you're not ready.
No.
Because you will invest. We pay for what we want.
What? Spirit fingers on that. That's so true.
If we really, really want it, we go get that thing. That's just it. If there is a house, a car, a bag, a shoe, a concert, a vacation,
You'll pay for
what would be a snack, a coffee? Let's make it real simple.
Yeah.
Did you have to get Starbucks?
No.
Or could you have made your coffee at home? We pay for what we want. If you want to ascend and excel as a leader, as an executive, you will invest in yourself and you will look at who is investing in you first before you venture to look at investment. I truly believe that.
And I want to piggyback on something you said and get out of circles. Don't stay in places where you're familiar and comfortable. Challenge yourself to get in different rooms, different circles, and around people you normally wouldn't be around. That has been one of the things that have made me the most successful, because I've seen different women in different minority groups, different industries, just different all around, but that has given me a very diverse perspective. Like I'm not so singular focused. Like I can see big picture. And I definitely feel like as an executive and as a leader, you need to be a big picture thinker. Like you limit yourself so much and you restrain yourself if you don't allow yourself those opportunities to that exposure of what those ladies or even men at a higher level are doing. And getting in front of them and being able to have conversations with them, because it'll open up your eyes to a whole new world.
Absolutely. I love knowing that I'm in a room that I can just learn by observing what is happening around me. And I tell my clients all the time, you can't always be the smartest person in the room.
Correct.
You have got to put yourself in places that challenge you. You've got to put yourself in places where there's a certain sense of unfamiliarity. Right? Where there's a sense of being a foreign, if you will, so that you can be stretched and you can grow and you can really begin to glean from others that are not where you are, but are steps above.
Right.
But that's where you aspire to be, or you aspire to grow into, or you're currently making that transition. Immerse yourself in those spaces. Think about your ecosystem of support. Right? Think of that larger circle. So the circle over here with your boys and your girls, like that's great.
Yeah, that's great.
That's great. Then you got your work circle, your work besties and your team. That's great. But what's that foreign space?
Yeah.
Go to these networking events. Right?
Yeah.
meet people, engage with people, follow people, connect with people. You have got to grow that circle of who influences your thoughts.
Yes.
You got to do it. You got to do it. Okay. So let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
Because sometimes we're in a space of reputation management. When I say reputation management, what does that mean for you?
Ooh, that means the who you are at your core. For me, that's what it means. Who you are, and are you the same person everywhere? How consistent are you in your reputation?
Right. Absolutely. There's nothing worse than you see someone, and you're like, wait, is that? No, that's not. You know, I can't figure out who you are, right? And I've worked for leaders. I have worked for individuals to where I didn't know what I was getting any given day of the week. It was a guessing game.
Yeah.
So part of reputation management, I agree with you. It's like just consistency
Yes.
of how you show up and who you are showing, who are you showing that you are.
Yeah.
Right. And wherever you are, whatever you do. And it's so funny because my family will tell you that mom is mom.
Right.
Now, you know, and I don't necessarily have to bring work. So I work in management consulting and project management. And I don't necessarily have to bring that all the time at home. While sometimes I might feel a little project managey, like I gotta have, list and a spreadsheet or a presentation for everything. Perhaps I am a little bit structured at times.
Okay.
But that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily have to treat my family as my staff or my team, right?
Correct.
But there are some things that they see in me that are consistent
Yes.
with me as an individual. So a part of reputation management, as people say, again, your reputation precedes you.
And it really does.
When you are out of the room or you walk, it's preceding you, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be some consistency that's there. What's a strategy that you recommend for someone who they're in this space of reputation management and they're trying to repair their brand, right? Perhaps they have shown up as, being overly assertive or rude, or perhaps they have shown up and they're not as consistent. They're known for just getting by, just getting the work done. But now they realize like, oh my gosh, I am ready. I got to get it together. If I know I want to go somewhere and do something different in my career, I have to get it together. What are some strategies that you can recommend for being in that space of repairing your brand?
Ooh, that's great. So one of the biggest ones I think is your social media presence. So I love LinkedIn, and I think LinkedIn is a great virtual resume. Like I promise you, like this is how you present yourself. This is who you are. So I think that's definitely how you show up on different social media platforms. And if it's on the professional side, definitely how you're showing up on LinkedIn. If you're going through a reputational rehaul, and I would definitely say start putting that out on social media, but make sure when you're in the public and you're out and about, the rehaul is also felt, not just seen, but we can also feel it when you come into the rooms. And then own the fact that, hey, I didn't show up the greatest in these spaces in the past, but I have learned my mistakes because I had to do it with being 21 and getting, but just owning the fact that, you know what, I wasn't ready, or I didn't what I should have. I didn't execute on the way that I expected, or, I missed the opportunity. I just didn't get it. Now I'm ready. So I believe one of the best things that we can do is just be honest. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I have since reevaluated life and gotten the right type of mentorship, executive coaching, and I understand the importance of how I treat people, how I show up. Because like you said, your reputation goes before you. And this is what I also tell people, and I'm going to add this little piece in there. I believe you can manage your reputation even before anybody meets you or sees you. They're going to know who you are just by going off the socials. So if you get your messaging out before anybody else does, you set the precedence of who you are.
Yes, that digital footprint is everything.
Everything.
It's everything. It's everything. And I'm telling you right now, if you're not on LinkedIn, let's demyth something. You don't have to be an influencer or a coach or a strategist to have a presence on LinkedIn. While you may see a lot of that, we are coming from a different space. You as a professional, as a leader, can show up in those spaces and develop thought leadership and be insightful and begin to broaden that circle of who you're engaging with. But how you show up there should mirror how your team is engaging with you, how your organization is engaging with you. If you are so insightful there on LinkedIn, then let's make sure that you're pouring in and pulling in those insights to when you're operating in meetings and, in your company or organization. But that digital footprint has to be there. It's huge in this day and age. It's almost impossible, I think, Allison, not to have one.
No, you'd be foolish not to have one, to be honest with you. Like, you're behind the times.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's so necessary.
Absolutely. Oh, this has been such a great conversation. So I want you to tell our listeners about your business endeavors, your company, and what it is that you do.
Awesome. So first of all, just thank you for this time. This has been so refreshing and just great conversation. Like, I really enjoyed myself. So I am the founder and CEO of Allison McFarlane Inc., but I like to call it AMI because my name is kind of long. So what we do at AMI is really what we talked about, helping you understand your digital footprint, the importance of your personal and professional brand, helping you manage that and how to execute that out into the public and how to successfully show up as your authentic self. So we do have an executive coaching piece. I have a leadership development piece and just that connectivity piece. Like I said, I love being a bridge. So just bringing people together. I don't just work with women, but I feel like that's like my jam and my superpower. So just bringing women together collectively, and having that safe space to kind of just dissect different things that are going on and having a safe space to kind of throw different ideals out there and see, what sticks and what doesn't sticks, and just having a support system. I think that's so important, especially when you get to that executive level or even as a business owner, having like-minded individuals around that understand your struggle and help you understand you're not alone. That's what AMI does. And that's what we do well. And I love it. And I'm so grateful now that I can really hone in on my passion and help people achieve theirs.
I love that. I love that. Well, guys, all the information around AMI is going to be right there in your show notes. So be sure that you go there and you check Miss Allison out. Allison, this has been absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining us here on the DNA of a Professional. What are the lasting words? What's something that you want to say out there to the aspiring leader, or even the leader who is hearing you today and saying, you know what? I need to really tap into understanding my leadership brand. There are some things I need to do differently. What are some lasting words that you want to say to them?
I would say get the support you need. Because like I said earlier, we're in a major pivot globally. That only means room for opportunity once everything settles. So get whatever kind of coaching you need, get whatever resources you need, because you don't have to stay where you're at. This would be the time to really invest in yourself so that once this pivot and the dust has settled, you have really taken yourself to that next level, because it's truly time to level up.
Yes, I love it. Notice she said get, not look, get. Going to get what you need, not go looking for what you need. We've been window shopping way too much. Stop scrolling and looking. Go get what you need so that you're ready for this next pivot. Guys, thank you so much, Allison. Thank you so much. This has been an incredible conversation today. I'm so blessed to have the opportunity to bring other experts into this space so that you can hear from them, straight from those who are like excelling and ascending in these spaces to help you take your career to the next level. Guys, you know how I feel about you. Rather, if you are a leader, you are an aspiring leader, or you are just waiting for your time, you know how I feel about you. You have everything inside of you to be your best and your unique self. What is that? Your professional DNA, your defined natural abilities to succeed. You can do whatever it is you aspire to do within your career, but I need you to tap inside, look inside. And for my leaders out there, get your brand together. Tap into that leadership branding. Go back, listen to some of the things and insights that Allison shared with us today so that you can be the leader that you desire and aspire to be. Until next time. Bye, guys.